Would I be the a-hole if I didn't go to my oldest brother's wedding? I, 19F, and my oldest brother, 26M, don't have the best relationship. So some context: I grew up in a well-off family where my siblings were never told no. That will be important later. So it's tough to get through to them. Anyway, when I was 13 all the way 16, my brother essayed and told me to never tell. I eventually told my parents, and though they believed me, they never did anything about it except a week of therapy. Anyway, so after that he would bully me into doing certain things with him that I will not be mentioning, and those things were never brought to my parents' attention. So those were my teen years, and fast forward to now. My brother engaged to fiancé 24 back in August 2024, and they are having an Easter Day wedding. I had always known I would never want to be there for any of my brother's bigger milestones due to trauma and being overly pissed when he's happy. Right off the bat, he asked me to be in his wedding. I, of course, said that I wouldn't be in his wedding, but I'd attend as a guest. He was upset at first, but said all right and dropped the issue. On Monday, shit went down. He came over to my house to help me build some new furniture and asked me for advice for his wedding, and while he was there he tried to shove himself into me and said he had to do it one last time because he wasn't gonna be unfaithful to his wife. I was of course panicking and yelled. My fiancé was thankfully home and hurried downstairs to stop him. They had a fight, then he eventually left. I talked to my fiancé and said I'm not comfortable going to his wedding. I sent him a message the following day, saying how I've put up with enough of his bullshit and said I wouldn't be attending his wedding nor sending a wedding gift. About 2 minutes after I send the text out, I get call after call and I didn't answer any of them. I had many panic attacks, but I don't feel like I owe him anything. I told my mom and dad what he did to me that day and included the things he did to me a while back they never found out about. He's called me a cunt and a bitch and many other things. So would I be the asshole if I didn't go to his wedding or invite him to mine? Was I too harsh? And should I apologize? My mom and dad and a lot of my friends and other family are on my side, but some aren't. Edit. Okay, so everyone is in the comments saying to call the cops, and I guess I should have mentioned that we did call the cops after the incident, but they only put it down as potential rape, so they are not doing much about it. As for telling his fiancée, I messaged her and she basically told me to fuck off and blocked me. As of right now, I'm doing the best I can in terms of police and his fiancée. Hi guys, I have an update. Guess who came knocking at my door today? My brother's fiancée. She called the cops on him for hitting her. He's in police custody, so while he didn't get arrested for raping me, I count that as a win. The cops are looking into the rape report, so it does make me feel a little better. My parents are unfortunately still in denial about it all, but I think they'll believe me eventually. My brother's fiancée is looking into what she can get refunded in the wedding, and her parents are pressing charges against him as well because apparently when they first started dating he raped her as well. She stayed with him because she worked for our dad at the time and was scared he would fire her. Thank you for everyone's advice in the comments. I'm currently going LC with my parents and NC with my brother. Update. We haven't gotten to many updates regarding my brother other than his out on bail and staying with my parents. His fiancée is staying with me and my fiancé for the time being while we figure things out. Where I live, the police unfortunately don't take things seriously. Update. Okay, so I need some advice. If you didn't see my other posts, essentially my brother essayed me when I was younger and then again before he was going to get married. I did call the cops, they did nothing, but then a few days later his fiancée came to my door and said he had hit her, so he's in police custody. My parents bailed him out and is staying with them until his court proceedings. So where I need help, do I go to his court hearing? I know some people would say yes and prove him an abuser, but I don't know if I want to get involved. My parents are still on my brother's side, and they don't want me to go to court and testify against him, but I don't want them to think I'm not going because they don't want me to. I have all the proof of his sorry messages and him literally confessing to what he did. So I could go and get him time in jail, but I don't want to go. Anytime we're in the same room together, he makes comments, sexual comments, and violent ones that make me scared and uncomfortable to be around him. My parents say I would be an asshole if I did go, but my fiancé and my brother's ex-fiancé say I should go to get him in jail for longer. So I need advice on what to do. Brother update. So this no longer has anything to do with going to my brother's wedding because there will be no wedding. This is also not really a to post either. His ex-fiancé called the wedding off. However, we have still had so much family drama. So first off, I stopped talking to my parents. As hard as it was, I felt so at peace while doing it. My brother confessed to his crimes. As of right now, he's only getting 16 months in jail. Short, but it's something. He's only confessed for the 2 rapes, but they're doing more investigating. My parents, on the other hand, still are in denial. I can't say I fully blame them. He's always been a good kid, and even before the rapes, a good brother. Me and his ex-fiancée both spoke at one of his hearings about what he did to us and never saw him again. He kept saying he was sorry, but at this point I don't think I even care. So at the end of the day, I think I did a good thing with speaking, even if half of my family hates me now. As for his ex, she's so pissed at him for only getting 16 months that she started talking to some of his other exes to find out if he did shit like this to them. I'm doing fine now. Full-time therapy as well as supporting other victims of SA. I no longer have contact with half my family, which is unfortunate, but hey, whatever keeps the peace. Okay, so I am borrowing a friend's account as this is my first time on Reddit. So I, 21F, am getting married in a week to my SO, 25M. We got engaged almost 2 years ago, and through that we've had some issues with my brother and SIL. Let's call my brother Adam and my SIL Maddie. So when we first got engaged, Maddie had announced her miscarriage at our engagement dinner. I am a people pleaser, so I never mentioned it after it happened. However, she did steal all the attention. I had invited her to go wedding dress shopping with me, and she had announced her other miscarriage. It put a damper on the whole day, and they had invited her out to drink without me, which I was okay with. Fast forward to 2-ish months ago at the end of March, they had told me they were expecting. I was obviously super stoked about it because they had struggled for a while and they deserve it. However, at the end of our visit, my fiancé had mentioned that the next family gathering we're going to have is our wedding in June. At first I was confused where he was going with this, but then it dawned on me that they were going to use our wedding for their announcement. We didn't bring it up in hopes they would never think to do that, but the next day Maddie called and asked if she could announce her pregnancy at our wedding. I was so livid I did lash out. I am not proud of it. I told her that she always finds a way to make everything about her, and it gets old. My fiancé calmed me down and we didn't communicate for a whole week. My parents were visiting me one day and I had brought up the situation and they understood why I was pissed off but said I should suck it up. I got mad and said if they were going to do that, they didn't get to come to my wedding, and my parents told me I was being selfish. I've never loved having attention on me, but I have always dreamed of having a wedding day being about me and my fiancé and not having any other distractions. I have always taken my Adam and Maddie's bullshit, and I don't have the mental strength to do it anymore. I don't want to be rude by uninviting them, but they won't back down. They told pretty much everyone in our social circle, and most are on our side, but some are saying I'm being an asshole and that my wedding day isn't just about me. Throughout the whole wedding process, I've been accommodating and made sure I don't ask for too much from others, and I understand other people's lives don't stop because it's my wedding. But I do just want my one day to be about me and the man I love. So Reddit, am I being an asshole? Should I just let them announce their pregnancy to keep the peace? Update: I want to make this clearer. This is not my Reddit account, it's a friend's. The past posts are hers and I didn't want to delete them out of respect. Update time. Sorry if this is a long update, I want to give some more context. So throughout my whole childhood I knew I wasn't the golden child. Anytime I wanted something they would say, no, I ask for too much or stop being greedy. My brother got handed things on a silver platter whenever he wanted. I met Maddie when I was 12 and she was 15. We immediately got close, and I was so excited to have a friend that was older and more mature. She would take advantage of me in minor ways because I've always been a people pleaser. I've always accepted I wasn't going to be anyone's first choice, so when I met Maddie, I let her walk all over me in fear of losing a friend. Eventually, I met my fiancé Christian, I am using his real name, when I was 18. We started dating when I was 19, and the rest is history, as they say. When he first met my parents, he said they had an odd way of showing that they loved me. I just nodded in agreement because what the hell do I say? A few weeks after he met my parents, I opened up about my childhood and how I always felt unwanted and was scared of losing him. Eventually his parents sort of became my parents, supportive of every decision and would just treat me like I was their own. He purposed and we chose not to rush into the wedding planning. At this point my brother and best friend had been married for a year. My brother is 28 and my SIL just turned 25. They had been trying for a baby and had appointments on two of appointments to figure out what was wrong. They never found anything wrong with either of them, she just has a hard time conceiving. I was there for every appointment when my brother couldn't make it and she confided in me when she was at her lowest. When she announced to the family that she was pregnant, I was ecstatic because no one deserves to have a hard time getting pregnant. Then we had our engagement party, and while we were going around and saying what we were grateful for, she stood up and said, "I have an announcement. We've lost the baby." I didn't want to be rude, so I told her how sorry we were, and the whole dinner became about her and my brother. I pulled my brother to the side and was like, WTF. He said she wasn't going to do it this early, meaning she was still going to, and he would talk to her. The next morning when I woke up, she had texted me once, and the message said that she thought I was a better friend. I instantly felt bad, so I called her and we had talked for an hour. Everything was well. Then we went wedding dress shopping. She was perfectly fine throughout the day. Not sad or like she wanted to cry. Then when I started getting compliments from my MIL, she stood up and announced she had miscarried. My heart sank because I genuinely felt bad for her. The rest of the day it was all about her and her miscarried baby. I had even said yes to my wedding dress that day and no one cared. I felt sad about it, but I'll live. The next day I had mentioned it to my brother and he said that not everything is about you and that I should start feeling more. I felt bad, but I couldn't relate and I wasn't going to pretend I did. I hung up feeling defeated after he berated and belittled me about how selfish I was being, and he even said he hopes when I get pregnant someday I lose that baby so I know how it feels. I cried the rest of the day and didn't talk to any of my family for a week. When I finally brought it up to my other family members, they understood where I was coming from, but they had all agreed I could have let her grieve without the call to my brother. When I told my parents, they said that they would talk to him because what he said to me was disrespectful. I already knew they wouldn't talk to him, but I had a sliver of hope they would. Anyway, so come to my wedding week, and this whole thing has blown up. When they first asked if they could announce their pregnancy at my wedding, either they were joking or still on a high about finally being pregnant. They were in fact being deadass. My parents knew about the pregnancy as well as Maddie's parents, who will not be attending my wedding. That's pretty much it. She's also told some of her closer friends, but she wanted to announce it to my side of the family as well as my husband's side, who will most likely not give a flying crap. Not that they don't think pregnancy is a blessing, but they don't know shit about her. In total, about 10, including me and my fiancé, people know about her being pregnant. A lot of people recommend that I post it on FB or make a group chat, and while I love those ideas, I am not brave enough to do it. I did, however, ask if I could talk to her, and this is pretty much how our conversation went. I brought up the situation, and she was trying to gaslight me into thinking that most of the day will be about me, but then people will leave knowing that she is pregnant. How I needed to stop being jealous about her pregnancy. So on and so forth. It didn't go as planned, so I just said you can come and keep your mouth shut or you'll both be disinvited. Those were the only two options I gave her, and then I stood up and left. My brother and mom called me later that day, and my brother said they will be coming and they will be announcing whatever they want to. When my mom called, I was scared she'd be on my brother's side, but she finally saw my side of things, and she didn't realize how bad things have gotten. My mom talked to them the next day on the phone and was trying to convince them to do it a different day or the day after my wedding. Which is fine because by then it'll be our honeymoon and not a day we share with everyone. They said they'd sit on it, but barely an hour later they said no. I chose to disinvite them from my wedding, and I talked to one of my dad's brothers who I am very close with and told him about the pregnancy. He's petty as hell, so I was nervous he would do something over the top and embarrass them, but instead he simply put together a group chat and said we thank everyone for participating and attending me and my fiancé's wedding, and that we unfortunately won't be seeing Adam and Maddie at my wedding due to pregnancy-related things. That was his message, and he was the only one who got calls. They didn't know I told him, and I got away from that issue. I will update you all when my wedding has passed, wedding date, the 28th of June, 25, and let you know is how things went. As of right now, they won't be attending, but they may show up. Thank you to everyone who gave me advice in the comments and made me feel better about being a little bit selfish for me and my fiancé.